I think it's oversaturated to say that Sonic the Hedgehog is a series full of ups and downs. The classic games captured imagination in the 90s by truly expanding the concept of what a 2D platformer could be, using momentum as a tool for movement. On the other hand, there's obviously some sour spots within this series as well. Sonic 06 is often used as a benchmark for how broken and terrible a video game can get. You can just be walking around peacefully in this game and just fall through the floor. 06 is so broken that using your kick on this one box sends Sonic into the stratosphere for literally no reason at all. And for me, Sonic Forces is a unique low point in the series. Even Sonic 06 brings something new to the table, which this game just doesn't. It completely abandons the momentum roots of this series, which rewards players for building up their speed, and instead just resorts to boring level design and the worst execution of a system that they've been using for 3 games at this point. I have loathed this game since the day of its release 6 years ago, and I have not revisited it since. Until today, I decided to try 100% complete one of my least favourite games of all time. Why? Because I hate myself, that's why. Sonic Forces is an absolute nightmare of a game. I don't even know if I can call this a game. So let's explore it, level by level, as I complete Sonic Forces so you don't have to. Sonic is sort of famous for being whimsy and action-packed, so you expect a strong opener to the game. This game opens with the most bland menu screen of all time. It is literally just the interior of a building. But that's just a nitpick. Obviously, I don't have a real problem with a bad title screen. As long as the game is good, I'm sure everything will be just fine. But before we get into our speed action, the game lets us pick a normal or hard mode. In Sonic. In a platformer. How the hell do you even do that? Well, apparently, according to texts I found in the Great Library of Alexandria, Google, the difference is that normal mode caps your rings at 100, and you only lose 20 rings every time you get hit. Whereas in hard mode, rings are not capped, and you lose them all when you get hit, allowing you to take more hits in normal mode. But does that even make the game easier? In a game like this, you're not gonna get hit much, and I can't even remember the last time I died from having no rings in a Sonic game that uses this boost system. So there's absolutely no difference at all between the two versions. They might as well just not exist. Kinda like this game, budum. After making the most difficult choice in gaming history, it's time for the game to finally begin. This absolute masterpiece of storytelling starts with Eggman chatting some absolute waffle about his newest creation. I literally don't care. What is this creation? I suppose we'll find out later, and I guarantee you it will not be disappointing at all. It's first level time, and you will never guess what original idea they have chosen for the first level of this game. It's Green Hill Zone again. Ow. The use of this level is telling. You will notice it's a theme in this game that it cannot do anything new, it won't do anything creative, and everything it does do is something that Sonic has done before, but goddamn does it do it worse. Green Hill here is just not Green Hill Zone. Let's compare it to the best Green Hill Zones in history. Sonic 1, Sonic Generations, and Sonic Mania all feature Green Hill Zones that are lush and expansive. They feel like big open playgrounds for Sonic to run around in. This is his home, so it makes sense that it would be a place full of environment and pathways to explore, a place for Sonic to run fast and explore and run around and do tricks and be like, yeah, way past cool. But no, here it's just a hollow hallway. The environment isn't even pretty. This just doesn't feel like the Green Hill Zone we've come to know in other Sonic games. Also, I know this has been said 1,000,000 times before, but why is Green Hill Zone even here in the first place? The aforementioned games earlier all suited having Green Hill Zone as their opening act. Sonic on the Sega Genesis was the first ever Sonic game, so this level sets the standard for what Sonic is and what he's all about. Generations and Mania both celebrate the history of the Sonic series, so it makes sense that the first Sonic level ever is the first level of these games. Here, Green Hill Zone just feels forced in because they couldn't think of a new level theme. The only plot in this level is that Sonic and Tails are using Green Hill Zone to travel to the city. Yes, the city in this game doesn't have a name. It's literally just called the city, so realistically any level can be used here as long as it's next to the city. Back to my point, this is just a hallway. There are no branching paths, enemies provide no threat at all, they just serve to stand there and be bowled over by Sonic using his boost. Oh, by the way, this is a Boost Sonic game. This is the 4th Boost Sonic game. Colors, Unleashed, and Generations came before this, and even though they've had 3 games to work on it, this is by far the worst Boost game of them all. The boosting in this game is very stiff. Sonic's controls and the level design is made specifically to cater for the boost. It's very hard to turn while boosting, and that means most levels are just a straight line until the level is over, occasionally broken up by little 2D sections that make me question if I ever even loved 2D platformers. The wisps from Sonic Colors are back, and this time they serve a completely different purpose from what they did in their original game. Mainly for the custom character, but we will get to that later. Sonic, however, can pick up wisps to fill his boost meter. I don't know why they chose to do this over it being tied to rings. Rings being tied to boost makes it actually a little more useful to collect them. Here, they're genuinely useless. Another reason I don't like this choice is because it just commits the game to being even more on rails than what it already is. 99% of players are gonna boost as soon as you give them the meter to do so. And this game gives you the wisps right before the big straight running sections, meaning that you never have to manage your boost meter, choosing the right time to boost to save more for later. They might as well just give Sonic an infinite boost, because you only boost when the game wants you to, and only when the game lets you boost. I have been talking about this level for much longer than the level actually lasts, by the way. This level is just over a minute long, you blink and you miss it, and most of the levels in the game are like this. There's still enough time to slip in some awful dialogue though.
Green Hill's looking a lot more like Sand Hill right now.
Anyway, I S-ranked the first stage, moving on. Sonic and Tails finally make it to the city, and meet our new villain, Infinite, who is Eggman's latest and greatest creation. We learn in the Shadow DLC that before he became Infinite, he was just a normal jackal, but all he is a jackal with the Phantom Ruby attached to him. So, Eggman is saying he created this guy, but as far as I can tell, he just mashed these two things together. Anyone can do that? Eggman's plans are a little more elaborate than just smashing a rock and an animal together and calling it a day. I don't know what he's doing here. Oh, and does this game ever explain what the Phantom Ruby is? No, not really, fuck you. Anyway, our new buddy with an Infinity Stone shoved up his ass is supported by some old fan favourite Sonic villains. And Zavok for some reason. Seriously, why does this guy show up in literally every Sonic game? Metal Sonic is back, which makes sense because it's been ages since he's been involved in a Sonic story. Shadow is evil again, which I'm sure this game has a valid, reasonable, and not undercooked reason for this happening. And oh my god, is that Chaos? I remember the build up to this game. I was there in the trenches with my comrades. This was the one we were excited about before the game came out. Chaos was about to be back in action for the first time in 20 years. And I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm going to spoil it for you now. There is no boss fight against Chaos. He doesn't even make a single appearance in the gameplay of this game. If you skip all the cutscenes, you wouldn't even notice he was here. And to be honest, if you watch all the cutscenes, you might not even notice he's only in about 3 of them. Chaos was in so much of the promotional material for this game, just for him to do absolutely nothing at all. He was clearly an afterthought shoved in at the last minute to get this game more sales. Anyway, our ragtag group of Sonic villains from AliExpress proceed to fold Sonic's ass and Eggman takes over the world. Honestly, Eggman being in charge of the world at the start of a Sonic game and Sonic having to claim it back is a very interesting premise for a game. So the game skips forward a few months later and we get to see the wider cast of Sonic characters starting their own little resistance to gain the world back from Eggman. We got Knuckles, we got SBO, and oh my god, look, it's Silver, my sweet baby boy.
He's my best friend, he's my pal, he's my homeboy, my rotten soldier, he's my sweet cheese, my good time boy.
Anyway, these lot are all sad and mopey because everything's gone wrong, the world's gone to shit, and Sonic is dead. Oh, and the comedy does not stop there because Knuckles goes on to say that Tails has lost it. What do you mean he has lost it? Tails has gone off grid, grown out his hair, covertly infiltrated a neighbouring state, and he is about to commence the rumbling. But aside from being absolutely hilarious, this cutscene serves to introduce the custom character, which is this game's main gimmick. Make a custom character, and even you can become best friends with Sonic the Hedgehog. When it came to making my character, I wanted to make a woman, but the game wouldn't let me be a naked anthropomorphic animal, so I had to throw that idea out the window. So instead, I had to get a little more creative with my character. Ladies and gentlemen, meet Sonic 2, or Snock the Charg as we will call him from now on. Snock gets introduced to the gang, and despite having never met them before, Knuckles trusts him enough and hands them a gun. Why does no one else have a gun? Why won't the game let me see Amy with a Glock? And literally 3 minutes after Sonic has been declared missing, declared dead, Sonic is immediately pronounced alive and well again during one of these talking sections. By the way, these talking sections are horrible. They clearly didn't have the budget to cutscene everything. So because of that, they play by the golden rule of storytelling. Always tell, don't show. Anyway, apparently Sonic has been tortured for months. I honestly can't with this game. So after dealing with so much mess in so little cutscene, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for Snock's very first outing. During gameplay, the OC uses weapons called Wispons. They really put their top writers on that one. Anyway, the Wispons, as the name implies, are weapons based on a certain wisp. Like Sonic uses the normal wisp to fill his boost meter, the OC uses each different type of coloured wisp to give them special abilities. Unfortunately, unlike Sonic Colors, where you can pick up and use any wisp at any time, leading to clever level design built around the wisp's abilities, in this game you can only use the same wisp as the weapon you have equipped, and you have to equip the wisp before the level. For example, the default weapon is the burst wisp, and because of this, you cannot pick any other wisp in the level, so the level designs cannot be built around using the wisp's abilities to navigate. The wisps just feel slapped on top of the already mediocre levels. They are completely superfluous and make next to no difference on each level. Much like most of this game's attempts to do any basic level design, the wisps are completely useless. The rest of the OC's gameplay is literally just Sonic's again, without the boost, and with a weapon. And because of this weapon, the game puts way more enemies in your way. Yes, they are just there to be bowled over again. Older Sonic games had an emphasis on combat like this, and I quite enjoyed it. But the difference is, most of those enemies had more than 1 HP, and you didn't just see them stand there like a lemon. Not a single enemy attacks you with the intent to hurt you in this game. Pretty much every single non-boss enemy just stands there begging to be defeated to make the level seem busy. I fucked this level up and got an A. Moving on to the next stage, it starts with a cutscene that makes me genuinely upset. I know the Sonic continuity isn't something the games take as seriously these days because the games aren't sequels to each other like they once were, but in this scene, Tails is just a shell of the character he once was. Genuinely, hugely unlikable. Tails sees base chaos and starts shitting himself and crying out to Sonic, who, let me remind you, Tails believes is dead because he has not met up with the Resistance. The very same Tails whose entire arc in Sonic Adventure 1 was learning to stand on his own 2 feet and be a hero in his own right without Sonic there to carry him. The same Tails who literally fought Chaos 4 and won. Why the hell is he scared of Chaos Zero? You literally kicked his stronger form's ass 20 years ago. This should be no trouble for you. You melt. And just when I thought that this cutscene could not possibly get any worse.
What are you doing here? And not in a racist way.
And Tails says that classic Sonic is that Sonic from another dimension? He was from the past, literally 2 games ago. I am so fed up of Sega wheeling out classic Sonic every time they want to make some nostalgia sales, and unfortunately, it's time to play as him. This little arsehole controls like a brick. I want to put him in a blender. Every time he jumps, which, let me remind you, he is a 2D platforming character, jumping is what he does, you have no control of him. As soon as you leave the ground, you cannot change his direction in midair. And not only that, but as soon as he hits the apex of his jump, he sinks. He sinks like my self-esteem if you don't subscribe to the channel. This ain't your grandpa's classic Sonic, he is literally worse in every way possible. And if the rampant nostalgia baiting to do with this character wasn't enough, every classic stage in this game has this awful chiptune sound font on it. It genuinely sounds like I'm trying to cheese grate my foot. More on the rat later. S rank. After we finish playing with the spiky blue ball of misery, it's time to return to Snot, as we find out, and this is no joke, that he did not have the guts to take a life. And that is it. That is all the backstory we get for this guy. Which is fine, because this is a character who sucks, brings nothing to the game, and we will never see him again. God life's relentless. Next cutscene time and Rouge appears, suddenly the game is really, really good. And speaking of cutscenes, here's a line befitting of this cinematic masterpiece of a game.
None of this is good, Vector. That's why it's called war.
I never thought I would hear a shallow attempt at explaining the agonies of war coming from the mouth of Knuckles the Echidna. Anyway, we are back with Snock. In space! And apparently, we have to go save the prisoner of war, who, may I remind you, is Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic the Hedgehog is the prisoner of war. This level is just like, whatever. It has a pretty good song, but with most of the OC's songs, it has these lyrics in it that are just so quiet and leave no impact whatsoever compared to every other lyrical Sonic song ever. And the 2D section. My god, the 2D section. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't feel like this is part of the environment that the game takes place in. It just looks like a Mario Maker level, which is fine for, you know, a Mario Maker level, but in a big game like this? No way. We got a big A rank on this one. After months of intense torture, a horrible experience which can only be likened to hell on Earth. Sonic is perfectly fine. There is not a scratch on him, and he's cracking jokes.
Party started. Want to let me go and join in? No? Of course not. You hate fun.
Shanice.
Yeah?
Your mouth is moving a lot like a rat. Yappa, 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 yappa. Shut it, please.
Mr. Tortured by the KGB has a boss fight now, and much like my life, this game has peaked very early. This is the best boss fight in the game. Despite the fact that it only has 4 attacks and takes 3 hits, and I did it without taking damage. Sonic, that was sick. This was a very easy S rank, and while we're here, speaking of S ranks, this game makes me sit through hundreds of clothing unlocks that Snock can wear after each level. It feels like an eternity. Imagine if this game didn't have this. Its runtime is already a joke, but imagine it without the 2 minutes of unlocks after every level, which by the way, are longer if you get an S rank. I'm not going to use these clothes, so this game is actively punishing me for getting an S rank. I'm going insane next level. God damn, this was the best level so far. Was it good? No, it's pretty much the exact same level as before, except you can boost, and Sonic has these rail grinding sections instead of the drifting bits that the OC had. Also, this is a strange point, but I didn't know where else to put it. I do not like Sonic in this game. And if you can't tell, I'm a big fan of the guy. Just look at my cool pajamas. But in this game, Sonic just doesn't shut up. Sonic is a jokey, hyperactive, talkative character, but when it's time to get serious, he gets serious. Now this game is pretending to be serious, it's pretending to be gritty, but then Sonic just jokes every 2 minutes. Sonic's character creates this strange tonal whiplash where the game is taking its stupid story so seriously, but then Sonic acts as jokey and cool as possible so Sega can just sell loads of toys out of it. And it sucks. Anyway, level was pretty decent. I got an ah! It's time for stage number 7, and that means it's finally time for Sonic and Snock to link up like the heat in their prime as we get to play with both of them at the same time. Not in that way, get your mind out of the gutter. The duo levels are the best kind of level in the game. They're still mid, but they're the best kind of level in the game. This gameplay style is actually somewhat interesting compared to the others. You control both characters at the same time, but one of them is the leader. If you boost, Sonic will become the leader. If you use the Wisp on, the OC becomes the leader. And while the system is fun and actually usable, it just goes to show the weakness of Sonic and the OC's respective kits. These levels feel better because when you're playing, you actually have a full set of moves that let you traverse through the level. Which is strange because there's no original moves here. You can only do things that Sonic and the OC can do on their own. So these levels just serve to highlight the fact that both Sonic and the OC have half-baked movesets, and when you smash them together, only then is a competently designed character created. Also in these levels there's a thing called a double boost, which is where you have to do a quick QTE and then you get an auto-scroller section where you just have to run forward. The funniest thing is, you can fail the QTE. I mean, what is the point of having a QTE if all that happens is it still happens anyway? I suppose we did get some good memes out of it though. Like I mentioned earlier, the OC also has these forced drifting areas. They are just so bad, bro. What are you doing? The game just takes away all control as it forces you to turn a corner. And then you have the tiniest amount of input, whether you move left or right while still turning the corner. It just doesn't feel good. Also, it's a problem in every level, but I feel like this level especially. Can characters please shut up during the levels? They just talk constantly. No matter how fast I run, I cannot run away from them and it makes me upset.
Yappa, 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 yappa.
I got an A rank because I died to this. Somehow, running through a power station got us to this neon jungle thing, so that's cool, I guess. And it's time for a Sonic-only level in the neon mystery jungle, which makes you platform, which I'm sure you're noticing a pattern by now, also sucks. Sonic is just so heavy, and like classic Sonic, you also can't change his direction in midair, making landing on the platforms impossible. Genuinely, it is easier to land on a small platform with this than this. Let that sink in. Other than the terrible platforming, this stage is just okay. It's very pretty, but it's still just a corridor to boost through. Yet again, enemies are lined up along the way, but they provide no threat. They're gonna get bowled over. There are even these flamingo enemies who run away from you. What do they provide to the level? They don't provide any threat. They're just here to make Sonic look fast, even though all I'm doing is holding square. I'll give this stage one thing though. Great music. In terms of rank, I got another Stage 9, and it's time for our very first encounter with our new big bad Infinite. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not too excited to fight him. I don't particularly have a reason to. He's only hurt Sonic a bit. What possible reason do I have to hate him? Why is he opping with Silver? It's time to throw hands. Infinite's theme goes insanely hard. And this boss fight has a very nice remix of it. I like it a lot. Unfortunately though, this fight does not live up to its great music. It's not a bad fight by any means. It's just whatever. It's a typical Sonic chase boss with some classic Sonic Forces jank. One thing I do really like about these Infinite fights, however, is that when you get hit by him, he puts you under this hallucination state where more attacks come at you and you're more likely to get hit again. I can't show you this because I did this fight without getting hit, but trust me, it's true. This boss fight is also kind of broken though. You catch up to Infinite before he gets a chance to attack. Even without boost. This is how I beat him. I beat him with no hits. So this fight's kind of mediocre, but it also doesn't work properly, so it's bad, I guess? Also, no one ever explains why there's just a giant snake in the sky. We're running on a giant snake. Why is it here? I beat Infinite with a smoking sexy style. As if this game hasn't disappointed me enough, Sonic Forces continues to let me down by using one of my least favourite video game tropes of all time. Sonic wins the boss fight. And in my case, Sonic wins the boss fight without taking a single hit, and then proceeds to get his ass kicked in the very next cutscene. At least this has only happened once. We aren't at Xenoblade 2 levels yet. Oh, and then we get hit with another terrible trope. Infinite says the tired old, "You aren't even worth finishing off." Oh, thank you, you My Chemical Romance furry OC looking ass. Sonic has just got his ass whooped by Infinite, and we cut to Tails, who once again is moaning. The character assassination of Tails the Fox in this game is genuinely one of my biggest gripes with it. His whole character growth was learning to be independent from Sonic. This is literally the one role you can give Tails that actively ruins him. I would rather, in this story, he just does absolutely nothing. Also, speaking of the story, I haven't mentioned this up until now, but the PlayStation version of this game, the one I recorded my footage on, automatically blocks its internal capture software from recording footage of these cutscenes. It's ridiculous for any game to do this. Streaming and online content is such a massive part of modern video game marketing, So why ban people who don't own external capture cards from doing so? Is protecting this masterpiece of a story really that important to you? Because I guarantee you, it's not good. Moving on, the puny blue rat of misery returns, so let's talk about another awful classic level. I don't know what to say that I haven't said already. The level design just does not fit with the environment. It looks as if it was made in a level maker. He controls like a fridge. It's Green Hill Zone. Again. And the music. Dear God, the music. It's awful. It's awful bad even for classic Sonic Enforces standards. All of his songs are bad, but this is a low point. The chiptune sounds out of key, for God's sake. For a series built on amazing music, this is an embarrassment. I no longer want to go fast. I want to go cry. I got an S rank, look at me, I'm an epic gamer. Eggman then reappears, which is refreshing. Not because he's entertaining, but because I genuinely forgot he's in the game. Contrary to Sonic, who's way too jovial in this game, Eggman is not cracking jokes at all. Which is weird because Mike Pollock is an excellent voice actor for Eggman, and he's best during the comedic moments. This game plays Eggman so seriously, and it is not playing to the strengths of the character. It's time for a boss fight against the man himself using the blue brick. The fight starts out as a boss from Sonic 1, which is cute I suppose, and once a certain damage barrier has been met, the fight transitions into a fight against the Egg Dragoon from Sonic Unleashed, making me wish I was playing that game instead. It also makes me wish the game did something original instead of constantly spunking stuff out from Sonic's past. The only way to damage this boss is to fling rocks back at him while avoiding the other ones. Lots of waiting, but the boss is fine, I guess. Very easy to beat, but this is the best classic Sonic the game has to offer. I S-ranked it, obviously. Between this and the next level, we get one animated cutscene and one text cutscene, which both do absolutely nothing to the plot, making me question why it's here at all. I also question who the hell Soldier is. Why did we have to make a character called Soldier here? Who is he? What horrors has he seen? Has he ever taken a life? It is now time for our OC, Snock the Chog, to run around the city, called The City, and this level is actually pretty decent. It's one of the better ones in the game. The level actually has branching pathways and ways to use your movement abilities to explore the level in interesting ways. Wow! It's still nowhere near as expansive as the Generations level, and it's way too short, but compared to everything else I've had to slog through, this is perfection. Oh, and the music for this one is actually good. Getting major Sonic R vibes from this one, and I dig it. I got an S rank on this one. Like S for Sonic. Well, that last level got me feeling pretty good. Maybe it's time that this game changes for the better. Things are only gonna go up from here. Oh no, not you again.
So, oh, for fuck's sake.
It's crazy that the two worst characters in this game are put together for all of the story. It's obvious my optimism is misplaced because this is a clear candidate for the worst level in the game. This one physically hurt me. We're back in the swanky neon Las Vegas forest thing. I'm still confused what this place is. And I guess just because this place has some neon lighting, it's obviously time to poorly emulate Casino Night Zone. But this is just janky. You have no control over Sonic, and the pinball paddles send you in random directions. Another level design masterclass here? Why did I fall into this gap? Why is it even here in the first place? What is this? This level was awful. It gave me hemorrhoids. I wish I got a D rank. Time for the next level, and it is the OC's time to shine in Viva Las Forest. This level is built around water slides. Who doesn't love a water slide, right? They're awesome. What could possibly go wrong? Everything can go wrong. These water slides feel like I'm sliding through custard. It is so slippy and bouncy, but you have no control of the OC. It's literally RNG whether you fall off or not. But hey, at least there's a banger to die over and over again to. The entire game has literally 6 locations, and they're either rehashed old levels that have been done to death like Green Hill or Chemical Plant, or they're original levels that are so generic. Some people may call this a nitpick, but it's really important to me. This game, as we've already said, does not have original locations for every level like pretty much every other Sonic game does. This is a massive reason why individual levels are instantly forgettable. But another one is the names. Why do the names just suck? Spaceport, Prison Hall, Egg Gate. All of these names are so boring. What happened to the fun and exciting level names of old? Compare Metropolitan Highway to Radical Highway. Both are set on roads in cities, but one sounds cool, you know, like Sonic the Hedgehog. One is just plain boring, while the other has the sauce. Oh my god. And if the writing wasn't shallow and cheap enough, please have a look at this masterpiece of a line.
It's been generations since I seen you. You okay?
Firstly, this is so forced. I hate this. Secondly, you said yourself earlier that this Sonic is from another dimension. In Generations, that classic Sonic is from the past. This is not the same guy, Sonic. You've never seen him before, you incel. Sunset Heights is a Sonic stage that they used for all of the marketing, and to be honest, I can see why. This level is decent. But the level is literally only a minute long. We're a decent chunk of the way through the game, and the levels don't seem to be getting any longer or any more challenging. They're all just corridors with enemies standing there, waiting to be bowled over. I'm sure you can guess my rank. I got another ah! But hey, at least for all my suffering, I got to see Shadow do this cool kick. Oh, by the way, Shadow's here. It's at this point that I got bored of playing this game, so I had to take a break and play more of the game at a later date. I'd like to stress that at this point, I've only played for 1 hour. I got fed up after 1 hour. After my break, it's time to move on to level 16. What's level 16 about? I don't know, Knuckles just keeps waffling on about Operation Big Wave. Whatever that means. I have to give praise to this level though. It's certainly ambitious. The perspective is constantly changing as well as the gravity. Unfortunately, the execution is nowhere near as good as the concept. The level design isn't engaging and it doesn't make fun with the constantly changing perspective. Infinite is the one who's screwing with the level and constantly changing the gravity, and they could really use this to ramp up his threat in the story. But somehow he looks lame, even when he's tampering with the very fabric of reality. It's only now that I noticed in my playthrough, I didn't change the wisp on once. Why would you? The default works fine, all the enemies die in one hit, and the game never encourages you to use another. Also, this is so stupid, but it makes me irrationally upset that this guy says, "This is the Eagle Squad," when he clearly isn't an eagle. Remember that last level where we saved Shadow? You'd think that introduction of such an important character within the Sonic lore would lead to developments in the story. Like he would lead us to the next story beat or give us some sort of important information that progresses the plot. But no, we just see him and the game moves on. I can't even remember if he talks again from this point. What is the point of introducing new characters if they aren't going to do anything? This story is just so sporadic and, quite simply, badly written. I can't remember what rank I got. I'm giving up trying to keep track. Snuck has a case of his classic PTSD, Infinite makes him his bitch. Luckily, Sonic gives him a pep talk to hype him up, and I'm jealous. I need this in my life. We fight the next boss with the OC, and this is boring and visually confusing. Stuff moves in the background and Infinite is flinging cubes about. It's busy, but dear god it's not a challenge. I finished this in 2 cycles. Just what a dud of a villain this is. A badass black and red jackal that messes with reality sounds like an amazing concept, but this guy just sucks. He carries no real mystery, threat, backstory. Go on, girl, give us nothing! Sonic has had some really cool villains, especially in the 2000s, which is clearly what Infinite is trying to emulate, but it just falls flat. Characters like Shadow, Chaos, even weirder stuff like Mephiles, all made some sort of impact, whereas this limp piece of cardboard leaves no lasting impression on the player. He has no enjoyable personality traits, and he doesn't even push the plot forward himself. He has so much potential, and yet he sucks so hard. Anyway, speaking of things that suck, him. I can't believe this shite came out the same year as Sonic Mania. One is so buttery smooth, and this little ball of concrete controls as smoothly as sandpaper. The next level is an imposter claiming to be Chemical Plant. Why call it Chemical Plant if it doesn't even look like it? Why are we reusing level themes if it's name only? You might as well just come up with a new name, then you won't have idiots like me complaining that you're reusing level themes. The level after this is just weird. It's a stupid half-level thing that turns into a boss fight in the second half, but the level and the boss each individually provide no real challenge. We're fighting Metal Sonic, this boss is just straight up awful, and if I stop running, guess what? So does he? Did anyone play test this game? This just looks awful and really breaks the illusion of challenge that this game's trying to present. Nothing makes it feel more like a scripted video game than the boss just stopping moving when you do. Again, no challenge at all is provided by this boss. It's just dodge left, dodge right, and hit him. This is also a duo level for some reason, but the OC contributes absolutely nothing. We spend the whole time running and attacking as Sonic, so it seems like this was only made into a duo level, so they didn't have too few. It's padding, essentially. The next level blows. It's a generic Mario Maker style level again. I died 6 or 7 times because the jump is just so damn heavy. The funny thing is, I'm genuinely running out of things to say on these levels because they're just so damn generic. Every single level blends into each other because they all look and feel the same, even with 3 different playable characters. Sorry if at this point it just seems like I'm mindlessly bashing on the game. This game is so ambitious that there's genuinely little to find praise for. Even Sonic staples, like the music, that was godlike in terrible games like 06, just falls flat. At least Sonic 06 had some ambitious ideas. That game was a swing and a miss. This game, I don't know, it's a bunt, but it's a bunt and a miss. You might notice that I haven't spoken about this game's plot in a while. It's because there isn't one. Like, nothing is going on. Genuinely. There are so many of these stupid little text segments and no cutscenes. It's an insane choice for a 3D platformer like this. This needs to be consumed by kids. They don't want to read text. Otherwise they'll be reading books. They're on TikTok all day. They can't read. This is Sonic. I'm meant to be on a fast-paced adventure. But with these visual novel parts, it feels like I'm playing Persona. But even in Persona, I get to see what's happening. These are just floating, emotionless heads chatting absolute nonsense, and it bores me to death. Snack the Chug distracted Eggman in the last stage, somehow, so Sonic is breaking into Chemical Plant to find the computer room. I don't know why. Everyone just keeps telling me to find the computer room. It feels like I'm playing Shadow the Hedgehog.
Find the computer room!
I'd rather be playing Shadow the Hedgehog. Modern Sonic's trip to Chemical Plant turns out to be a bit of a mess. The first half of the stage is just mindless rail grinding. There's nothing to do other than going left or right, but then the second half of the level actually does something somewhat interesting. These platforms get moved by moving water pillars, and you have to adjust your platforming around the timing of the platforms moving and the timing of the water. This is a fun concept to introduce a new way you can interact with your environment, but unfortunately, this is Sonic Forces. So once the concept is introduced, it never gets expanded upon, it never changes the timing or the shape of the platforms. It doesn't even give you many scary jumps over bottomless pits to raise the stakes. It's disappointing. I'm aware I'm not being the most positive, but that's only going to get worse as the rodent of misery and pain makes his unfortunate and unwanted return. This level, featuring the bane of my existence, is about alternating platforms that look dangerous to step on, despite being completely safe, as well as these launch stations that make you wait in a game about going fast. Yes, you heard me correctly, the game makes you wait stationary for about 3 seconds before 10 seconds of doing absolutely nothing while we do pointless loops to end up 5 meters from where we first started. Classic Sonic, you are pure joy. 2 out of 10, would not classic Sonic again. Lore update with the story. Somehow, Classic running around the Death Egg destroyed it? And then Amy, who's in this game by the way, tells us that doing this weakened the Phantom Ruby. Why? Infinite has the ruby. Infinite is made of the ruby. So what has that got to do with the Death Egg? Infinite is on Earth, and we just weakened him by destroying something from Star Wars in space. I swear for the plot of this game, they just spun a wheel, threw a dart, and went with whatever it landed on. Not only is Amy somehow in this game, but I forgot Orbot and Cubot were here too. It's so odd, because Eggman in this game is acting so threatening. They play him so straight, he isn't funny at all. He's played as seriously as one of the Peaky Blinders. So when he's bouncing off the comical funny shape robots, it's just really awkward. Especially because Eggman already has Infinite to bounce off, so why are you here? Proper generic boost corridor Sonic level here. If you don't hold left on these turns, you just die. My thumb was holding on for dear life. And you'll never guess what. Somehow, between stages 23 and 24, there is a major plot development. Infinite sends us to null space, an empty purple void that is full of infinite nothing. Amazing potential for a crazy, trippy level with some absolutely mental level design. Anyway, we fail one QuickTime event and we make it out of null space. And then we play a level that looks completely identical to the one we just played. Like, I'm not even joking. At this point, it's actually funny. This game is so allergic to doing anything new, doing anything creative, that it even introduces a new concept and goes, psych, I'm not actually doing that. I swear to God, I'm slowly going insane. Also, when we come back, how did Knuckles know we disappeared? He wasn't there. He isn't even in the city. Is he omnipotent? The main theme of the game plays in this level as we escape null space, and I gotta admit, that's pretty cool. It's tropey, and yeah, it would have gone crazy if escaping null space actually meant something, but my dumb brain just can't help but love this. It's like when the opening plays in the last second of the anime, it just scratches an itch that I can't resist. Speaking of the main theme of this game, Fist Bump is pretty decent. It's definitely not the best Sonic song, but it's solid enough. The lyrics aren't great, but the singer is having so much fun that his charisma just carries.
Together we can show the world what we can do. You are next to me and I'm next to you. Pushing on through until the battle's won. No one's gonna give nothing to us. Into each other we put our trust. Standing united after the fight.
This level, despite the null space disappointment, is one of the best in the game. It utilizes both Sonic and the OC well for a duo level, and the music is really cool. It's a very low bar, but this is certainly best in class.
Maybe he'd have more friends if he didn't talk about himself in the third person.
What sort of reaction is that to a joke? He didn't know how to react, he just did his default emote. And no one reacts like this was weird. I wish I could do this to people. With no build-up whatsoever, it's time for the Avengers Endgame-esque final act to begin. I shit you not, we just cut to it. And Jesus Christ, for the final battle, this lacks any sort of impact. These cutscenes are so funny. It's literally just the most stiff combat animations against an army of copy and pasted models. Like, I can see this game's tiny budget everywhere. From visual novel sections telling most of the story, to the fact that 95% of the characters in the final battle are copy and pasted. I genuinely believe the only reason they gave Infinite the power set he has is so they could do this shit. Why are the soldiers just standing there? And these pre-rendered scenes look so crunchy. I'm actually at a loss with the presentation of this game. It is piss poor. At least Rouge is bad as hell though. If you look like this, DM me. Anyway, Infinite uses the black materia to summon Meteor, or something. Honestly, I don't care anymore. And our next level begins. At least this level, for what it's worth, creates the feeling of a finale. It's a tower climbing platformer gauntlet that sees the OC slowly ascend up the level to destroy the giant sun Infinite made during the cutscene. It's a cool idea for a level with decent level design. It still feels like Mario Maker, but that's expected by now. Somehow, Snack the Chug turns into Prime Bulls MJ and dunks a fake Ruby into the fucking sun, thus destroying it. Honestly, I'm down for whatever at this point, that rocks. This was Eggman's plan, by the way. He wanted the sun to hit the ground, which would have killed everyone, which would have killed him. He has stood directly under it. Man was fully prepared to top himself. Eggman, are you okay, buddy? Next level time, and it takes us back to modern Sonic, and yeah, it's alright. This level is one downward slope, so if you jump and boost, you just kinda break the whole thing in half. And I know I've complained a lot about the enemies waiting to be bowled over, but these ostrich enemies are the worst culprit of waiting to be bowled over. They run away from you! They pose no threat, they cannot hurt you! And after that, it's time to fight Infinite again. The supposed final encounter with our new big bad. What epic encounter has the game got in store for us? I mean, we fought him on a giant snake earlier. Our final encounter with Perfect Chaos was the whole city sunken underwater. We fought Dark Gaia at the core of the planet, so surely they have something amazing in store. Oh. It's a copy and paste of the boring Metal Sonic fight, but with Infinite instead. That's it. That's the big finale for this character. The OC isn't even here this time, for the exact same fight earlier that he was here for, proving that he was there for no reason. The devs literally pressed Ctrl-C and Ctrl-V so much to the point that once again, I can just stop and so will he. Some of these attacks, man. Look at this X move. I can just boost, press nothing else, and I dodge it perfectly. Oh well. At least Snuck joins us to serve no purpose at all. One more QTE to finish, I literally put my controller down, and we still won. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is it. That's Infinite. I thought, when I first played this game, that he was going to come back and be our final boss in his cool final form, like Perfect Chaos, Metal Overlord, you know, he's going to go crazy into his Eldritch Horror form, but no. That's all, folks. The big bad who was heavily hyped before the launch of this game is just gone. Like that. Let that sink in. This is the final Infinite fight. It was a copy and paste of a bad fight earlier. He was so disappointing. He didn't even go out with a whimper. I've had farts more climactic than this. During the time it's taken me to make these videos, Shadow Generations got announced and released. I need to hurry up, huh? And I was kinda disappointed not to see Infinite make an appearance in that game. As the Shadow DLC shows us, Infinite is closely tied to Shadow, so it would have been cool to have a boss fight against him in Shadow Generations. It wouldn't have done loads for his character, but a cool fight would have at least given him a tiny bit of aura, which he just severely lacks in this game. While we're on the topic of Shadow Generations, by the way, it just embarrasses this game in every way possible. There's a Forces level in Shadow, and it would 100% be the best level in this game, and it just shows the wasted potential we had. I mean, look at this! Look at Shadow weaving through the robots. You never do this in this game once. Shadow is moving like a prime Captain Levi, yet the original game is so stiff. It hurts to see what we could have had. Next up, fortunately, it's the last time we get to play as Classic Sonic. I'm so fed up with him, I couldn't even come up with a name. Just joking, of course I could. This is our last time playing as the... And in classic tradition, this sucks and is probably the worst level in the game. This level has an auto-scroller section, which I can only describe as AIDS, especially with these damn controls. Classic Sonic falls like he's morbidly obese. You die for no reason and you have to play the whole thing again. It's shit. This level has no plot relevance, by the way. At least Sonic and Snark were doing something. Sonic was running to infinite, and Snark was stopping the sun and then getting to infinite. Classic Sonic just has a level, so he has something to do. What's the point? I can't wait to never see this little shit again. Stage 29 is our final traditional level, and it's strange. Most of these final levels have been the best the game has to offer, and this one starts with a sidestepping segment. I've got no issue with the segment itself, it's pretty cool, but for some reason the sidestepping in this level and this level alone is really delayed and sticky. It's only here, and it's so frustrating. There's this kind of like mini boss fight in this stage where we need to turn off the Phantom Ruby generators. With each one we take out, the hazards get more and more. It's pretty cool. It's kind of crazy that this is one of the best bosses in the game, and it's not even a boss, it's just a random machine. Eggman's internet router is one of the best bosses in the game. Dear God. And just quickly, I thought we weakened the Phantom Ruby, and then we killed Infinite. So, why is the Phantom Ruby still working? Anyway, who cares about that? One more failed QTE for the road, eh? So, after all the suffering I've put myself through, this is it. It's the final boss time. This final boss has 3 phases, and the first one is okay. It's classic Sonic, but it's pretty decent. Good job! I still hate you! It's a bit like the Egg Dragoon, but the platform breaks beneath your feet, which requires you to think a bit where you're gonna go next. Did you hear that? It's the final boss, and it's the first time I've had to think. And the last phase with these disappearing hexagonal platforms while being attacked is quite intense, and I wish this game had more of this tension and difficulty. After the egg goes down, it's time for our true final boss, and I shit you not, it's the same final boss from Sonic Colors and Lost World. Embarrassing. I can't deal with this. This is a fine final boss for Sonic Colors, but to repeat it twice, and it's a really basic fight. And all 3 times it has no supersonic or anything, it's just such a limp ending. Fight is literally dodge the laser, hit Eggman, the end. And at the end of the fight, there's another QTE. I tried to fail this one, and I broke the game. Yeah, that about sums up Sonic Forces. We're just running forward, not getting attacked, no music. Jesus Christ. Right, boss dead, we're at the ending, let me give you the footnotes. Sonic and the OC go their separate ways, and classic Sonic fucking dies. Sonic says we'll see him again. I really hope not. I never want to look at this abomination again in my life. And to all those who think I'm being mean to classic Sonic, I'm being mean to this classic Sonic. I'm being mean to the classic Sonic from another dimension. The one from the past, he's beautiful, he's a sweet baby boy, I love him. The one from another dimension can burn in eternal flames. And that was it. That was the game I had the displeasure of playing. That was Sonic Forces. And according to my footage that features all cutscenes, every level, including time for me to make notes after all 30 levels, that was 2 hours and 35 minutes. 2 hours and 35 minutes. Bearing in mind, I was very tired when I played this game and I filmed all my footage, and I took a break for a poo, and it was still nowhere near 3 hours. Remember that guy who caused a bit of controversy because he bought the game, finished it, and still refunded it because he didn't reach the 2 hour mark, thus was eligible for a Steam refund? I don't know why that was any sort of controversy. This game was full price on launch. For 2 hours of gameplay, it's just not acceptable. I wouldn't play this if this were free. Oh wait, no I did, and I made 3 YouTube videos about it. And what a fool I was. Shout out to my mate Dan, by the way. I like to collect games, I like to physically own the box and keep them all, but I hated this so much that I sold my version I bought on launch day. But he got me a new copy for my birthday, and this time, marked it as the Game of the Year edition. So, thanks to you, I felt the need to replay this game. Cheers. This game blows. It's everything I hate in a game. I obviously think bad games are bad, but there's something about awful garbage that I love. Terrible and broken games are so funny. Yeah, they're awful, and they're not all what you want, but sometimes you just gotta appreciate the beauty of something so inexplicably shit that you can't help but love it. And often in these awful games, you can see what they were trying to do. You can see ambition. But in this, in Sonic Forces, there's nothing. It's the most nothing video game ever made. No ambition, no unique style, no interesting ideas, no reason to exist. Video games are and should be art. This isn't art. This isn't even an attempt at art. This is a product. And I can't often say that about Sonic. Say what you want about this series, but it's certainly always trying new things, sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worst. But not Forces. This game was made to make money, and it was rushed to meet a Christmas launch window, and it's just the worst game because of it. Is this the worst mainline Sonic game? No. Is it my least favourite? Absolutely. Because of what it stands for. Sonic 06 tried to be a good game. It had some crazy ideas and it went for it. Yeah, it missed and it was terrible. But this? It's still terrible. But there's no joy to be had. Sonic 06, you can marvel at what it was trying to do and laugh at what it does wrong. This game, there's just nothing. It's a wonder I've spoken about it for this long. And it had him. So it's automatically worse.
Together we can show the world what